So, without further ado, let me bring up Joe Malinowski.
Having me out. How's everybody doing? Let's give Andre a round of applause. He's good. How about Mark? Did you guys like Mark's presentation? I was so excited when I saw Mark's presentation because it flowed perfectly, and some of the language he was using, I actually just took out of mine. I had a slide that said "Be awesome." I'm like, oh. Thank God I took that one out so we didn't just repeat something. There was a different story around it. So thank you all so much for allowing me to be one of the presenters today. We're going to talk a little bit about traffic generation, lead generation, as it relates to kind of both sides of the world of business as I see it online. Because there's a bunch of you in here that are trying to build an internet marketing business. By a show of hands, how many people are trying to just build something that's, you're hanging out of the house, online, just want to kind of create that mailbox money, so to speak. These people over here going crazy. This side of the room is kind of I don't like mailbox money. No. So the rest of you, I want to imagine by a show of hands, are more the brick and mortar kind of businesses, consulting services. You're trying to sell something, drive traffic so you get more clients. Is that about accurate? Cool. So we're going to kind of go over strategies that I've used that are actually working on both sides. So if you can do both of those things, would that be okay? Show you kind of how to do that. I'm going to make it as simple as possible. A lot of the strategies that we're going to go through kind of revolve a little more around Facebook, really because what happens is I've done tons of these presentations over the last 5 years, and when I have a presentation that shows you how to do stuff on your website and LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter, you go home and do nothing because you now have 6 pages of stuff and you're like, where the heck do I begin? So really want to try to not overwhelm you, but also give you stuff that you can walk away with. So as you're coming on to whatever field you want to participate in, you're able to kind of create that waterfall of leads and stuff that kind of continues to keep coming in, because I think we all kind of have sometimes that whole feast or famine. Anybody ever deal with that? Oh my God, I'm so busy. I wish I had some time, and then oh crap, I have a blank calendar. What just happened? So looking at the different ways that we can engage online, I use Facebook a lot as the funnel to get people into whatever type of value that I'm really trying to create. And Mark hit the nail on the head just so many times. That isn't going to be the one time you hear about becoming a valuable resource today. This is going to be throughout all 3 of these presentations, because it is so critical to master that fundamental of being a valuable resource. If you're not going to be a valuable resource, it's just not going to really work for you. Am I too loud? I keep hearing a little feedback, Andre. Feedback. Who's moving now? Sorry. Is that better? Yeah? Cool. So, what I see most companies when I'm working with all types of different industries, and I get to work with bars and restaurants, I get to work with spas. We've got a client that's a $70 million manufacturing company. So it is the gamut of different types of businesses. And what I really find most often, slide like that. Oh, I got the first presentation I sent over. That's okay. What I find most businesses doing is not leveraging the presence that they're actually creating. A lot of you spend a lot of time to build lists. So you're gathering names, you're gathering clients, and you're only building that for yourself. Would you agree? You're kind of just how can I build my list so I can keep getting business? The reality is that list is valuable to other people too. And it would be easier, and you would probably make some nice extra money if you figure out how to create some of those strategic alliances, which I'm going to show you how to do as we go through. But that list that you're creating is valuable to so many more people than yourself. So you've got to kind of ask yourself, what if you can create a lead source for your business as well as other people? It goes right into that resource, relationship development side of things. And what if you can monetize that following? Because you've already spent all this time, you've always heard the types of statistics that it's, exponentially more expensive to get a client than it is to keep a client. It's kind of the same way when someone comes into your funnel. It's more expensive to get them in there than it is to keep nurturing them. It's a matter of ongoing value and ongoing resources. So, do we have my other presentation? I'm not going to change it. I sent Mark 2 presentations this morning, and I made a few tweaks to it, so one slide is out of order. But better yet, time you enjoy wasting is not wasted time. Has anybody gone on Facebook and 3 hours later found himself on YouTube looking at the clock saying, what the hell just happened with my time? You had a fun time doing that. So what if you could revolve whatever type of presence that you're creating around something you actually enjoy? And I'm going to show you many examples because you can throw pretty much anything out there and we can figure out a way to kind of help them create a presence around it. But I want to kind of give you a little briefing to this approach that I've taken, and I'm going to kind of go through this case study around a project that I launched on August 1st. On August 1st, we launched Downtown Tampa is Awesome. That's grown to over 5,000 people in less than 4 months and less than $500, and the email list is almost at 1,000 people so far. So we built that up. We're a huge resource to downtown. And now I'm able to go and get really cool relationships. I'll show you how we've leveraged that and how you can do the same type of thing with what we've done on Facebook. So really what my approach has been over the last 8 or 9 years is at first, when I was 20, I started to build an insurance agency, and I really just built it through networking. I learned very quickly that people don't care about insurance. They don't want to talk to you about insurance. They don't want to be sold insurance. So here's what happened. My first month, I was an entrepreneur. I was 20. I'm like, I'm done with college. I just don't like it. I'm going to go figure this out on my own. Being this I know everything 20-year-old. Well, now the first month was great. I made a bunch of money. The second month came around, and apparently checks don't keep coming. They just apparently have to keep selling things to keep getting paid. So I was like, what should I do? So I went to a networking event. From that networking event, I hung out with some people. I tried to, talk to them about insurance. I went home, I was like, no one cares. How am I going to sell any of this? I'm like, all right, from that event, I learned about other events. And before I know it, I'm going to 3 events a day, every day of the week. That is my new job. I don't sell insurance. I attend networking events. All that I figured out how to do was meet a ton of people. But after about a month of this, I was like, oh, I got all these cards, and I'm looking at them. I'm like, well, Jane was really trying to meet this lady that Bonita, what Bonita does. And I was like, let me just start connecting everybody, and at least I'll be a resource. Fortunately, I did this unconsciously. I wish I could say I was that brilliant of a 20-year-old to be like, this is how I'm going to make the money. It's like, no, these people wanted to meet each other. Why not just be a conduit for connections? And in 3 or 4 years' time, I'm winning awards for networking, and my business is growing. Built this insurance agency to a couple different states, a bunch of agents. People are selling things. I'm having a great time. I'm kind of looking at my life like, does it ever really end? Am I going to go to 3 events a day forever? I don't really want to do that. So what happened was, I found that I'm doing all these different events. And all right, I'm tired of printing this whole sheet of paper out with 100 different events on it and passing them out at events. So what I did was, I created Business Networking Life. That's kind of evolved into a site called this site. You can go to it, it's still there. There's a bunch of blog posts. It hasn't been updated for a year and a half. But the new site that has all of the networking events on it is Tampa Bay, Networking Events Tampa Bay. That's it? Sure. No, I'm not sure. NetworkingTampaBayEvents.com. That is the site. That's the site that we launched kind of in place of this, that is just a networking directory of all of the networking events that we know going on anywhere in the Gulf Coasty area. So people just had a resource to find it, because what happened was people would say, all right, where can I find networking events? And then they find one site, and then they call the people up, and no one answers the phone. They don't know anything about the event, and they're just searching. Anybody ever experienced that? You wanted to find events, you couldn't find them. You went to the business journal, you went to the paper, you didn't find some stuff, you found Meetup. So I created this website, and what happened immediately was, well, first it was on WordPress. It was 2007, 2008. WordPress was kind of still in its infancy. It was really just for blogging. It wasn't as heard of as you're building your website on WordPress. So what happened was my buddy and I sat down for 3 hours. His name is Tony Teagarden, awesome guy, does a ton of really cool stuff online. Check him out. And 3 hours, set up my hosting, set up my domain, got him connected. Voila, I have a website. That was kind of like the extent to what I knew just happened. There was no technical knowledge in it that I really was aware of. So I tinkered with it for a couple days, I figured WordPress out, I listed all the events I wanted to put on there. I went to my networking events and told everybody about this website. Next week everybody comes back and says, how can we learn how to build a website like this? Are you doing this yourself? And I was like, well, I'll tell them what I did. And everyone's like, well, what if we have a class? I'm like, listen guys, this is like slightly less blind, leading to totally blind. So I got no idea what I did. But I'm not going to sit down with all of you individually, so if you have a class, like, here's what we can expect. You can at least get as far as I got. After that, you're kind of just on your own as I am, because this is all I really knew how to do. I remember the first time, anybody like set up their site and like tinker around with HTML for like 3 hours, and you're just trying to get like a period to move, and you like accomplish it, you're like, I am the smartest person alive! And that was like my first couple weeks. So we built this resource. This evolved into, I didn't like mean to do it. The first workshop I had, we had like 10 or 15 people. I was charging $35 a head, and I made $100 a head on hosting. So for one day, for 3 hours, made like $2 grand. I'm like, this is pretty sweet. We'll probably do this again. And I was like, well, I'll wait for people to start asking for it. And the next week, you're like, when's the next class? So before I know it, 2 years go by, and we've been doing classes every month. I'm partnering with lots of other friends, and we're creating Facebook workshops. And everybody wants to go to all these things and figure out how we're doing the stuff that we're doing. But it was solely around the relationship that I built and the confidence that I built with all of the people. I couldn't have just like come into the marketplace and like, I'm a trainer guy. Everybody kind of knew who I was. They knew I was going to put out the best product that I could for the knowledge that I had. They would expect me to be like this guru of all things. I was very upfront with everybody. I'm like, guys, here's as far as I get. Like, if you get past this and you get stuck, that's it. Go to YouTube, find a forum, I don't know who to talk to. So it evolved into, the frustration became running these workshops, and I remember going back a year after and looking, so I could see in the hosting report of all the people that got hosting the domains, like how I could go and look at all the websites. I clicked on all the websites, and there was like 150 or 200 of them, like 2. Somebody did something with. It wasn't past the 2009 theme of Hello World. And I was like, oh man, like this is discouraging. Like, well, what could I have done better to help these people get further with whatever it is they were trying to do? And I'm like looking at stuff like, what are really the statistics of people that implement whatever they learn at an event? And those were discouraging. It's just like, they go to a Tony Robbins event, and 3% of people will go off and implement it. Like, I just didn't feel nice about taking money from people, like knowing they weren't going to use it. So I was like, if people are willing to pay me, let's do it on a consulting basis, so I can at least manage the process and make sure that whatever they're paying for is at least happening, and they get closer to whatever their goals were. So I kind of started doing that independently, and I was really fortunate to about a year and a half after doing it independently, I knew enough to know I didn't know how to have a consulting practice. I knew how to consult, I knew how to do that stuff, but like, does anybody like to do all their bookkeeping and invoicing and all the fun stuff that comes along with being business owners? Nobody. Look at that. I'm sure is there an accountant in here that does like to do that? There's the person to call if you do not like to do that stuff. So Mark Katz and I kind of talked about some ideas and how it looked as far as us building a practice together and both of our philosophies and stuff like that. We partnered up. And we've been fortunate enough to be consistently bringing on dozens of clients every month for all types of different programs. So all of that being said, really what this kind of is going to relate to is a lot of stuff that Mark went through. I found this, it's all about your business CEO, your 1984 marketing won't work. I kind of disagree with this because the game is still the same, but the players have changed. So what that means to me is it's still about building relationships, being valuable, being a trusted advisor. We just now have a ton of new players. Social media and blogging and Facebook and every other resource has now enabled us to get in front of exponentially more people. So when you're looking at stuff, the networking side of things, this isn't just about like social networking. I feel like social networking, when I talk to various different age groups, people younger than me, people older than me, my grandmother's 92 and she's awesome. She goes swimming like every morning. And then she just like, can I go buy Facebook? I'm just like, that would be awesome. But I would say no, just leave the inheritance to me whenever that happens, and I don't want it to, because she just didn't get it. But she sees that her grandkids are showing her pictures from Facebook. So when I say networking, I utilize that to meet other centers of influence. It's not just about my posting schedule and how am I going to get these tweets out there and how am I going to get people to click on these links. It comes back to this resource creation. Everything, it's fun to look back at, anytime that you're kind of frustrated in your business or whatever the case is. I find it so awesome to be able to look back at what was I doing 10 years ago and how has that continued to snowball into the relationships I have today, the opportunities I've created for myself, and all of that. I guarantee you, if you look at some of those things, you'll really be astonished, and it's kind of breathtaking to see what happens. But everything I've done has been with the intention of being a resource. When I had the insurance side of things, it was always about how can I help these people make enough money to where when I say, you want to change insurance? I mean, whether it's more or less, I made them enough money to pay for whatever it is I'm selling. That was always the objective. How can I help people make more money? So then if I have something to offer them, I know they can at least afford it, because they can't be like, oh, we're short this month. I'm like, I just made 10 grand to buy a $50 bottle. Buy something. But the relationship development is what's critical. So the strategic alliances that you make along the way make this so much easier. Isn't it nice to call up a customer or a client or someone that's happy with you and say, listen, do you know anybody that does this? I really got a cool idea for them, and I just want to chat with them about it. And then that person is happy enough to say yes and connect you. I'll absolutely do the same thing that Mark was saying, where he found a website that he didn't like, he liked what the people did, he offered to get him a website. If I have an idea, I just want to see it implemented. I almost don't care sometimes. I don't care if I'm getting paid sometimes, unless they start asking me to do a ton of technical work. I'm happy to give them the idea and be run with it. If you want to bounce some ideas off me, call me up, because I just want to see it work. I'm very adamant about how do you just keep dumping value onto people, because it absolutely continues to come back around. And that's what we did with the Downtown Tampa project. Nutshell on that, when we started it up, what happened for me was I went to the YCDC, which is the Ybor City Development Corporation, and I wanted to do some community development type projects. I sat in this meeting, I gave ideas out for an hour, and I came back the next month, and we all talked about these ideas. And then we talked about the budget that was a government contract. I didn't know that. So I was like, let me get this straight. I just gave away all my intellectual property for this guy to make 180 grand a year and have his interns do work. That's not cool. So I'm going to go build my own thing, put a feather in our cap so I can come back and say, here's what we did in 90 days, 120 days, with less than half of what your monthly budget is for Facebook. Here's how we did it. So it kind of gave me this little motivation thing to set that up. And we did it by connecting with the community. Go figure. Everybody in downtown Tampa wanted to get promoted. They wanted their businesses to grow. How difficult do you think it was? I created a music video. If you look up Downtown Tampa is awesome and look it up on YouTube, I have a 3 or 4 minute dance video, me dancing with every bar and restaurant and museum and everything like that. So we had a great time with all of it and continue to build that and promote everybody. So what happened with that is we became this resource for everything that's happening. So the first questions to ask is, when you're looking at your business, what kind of business are you trying to build, and what is the lifestyle you're trying to create? Because that's important to look at. If you're happy with doing the consulting side of things or selling a product, then by all means continue to do it. But know that that's really what the end game is. If your end game is, listen, I'm just trying to get enough money to where I can retire, or I want to have some passive income streams, figure that out and get really specific about it. Figure out what the numbers is, and then really figure out what you really, really, really actually enjoy doing. I like the downtown thing that we're doing because I love being downtown. You might not like being downtown Tampa that much because you live in Sarasota. So I imagine that's a long drive for you to have a lot of fun up there. But I guarantee you this. There is nothing unique about something you like. The only thing that's unique is you. You have a different way of putting it. This guy is apparently amazing at balancing on an orange. So when you look at that, And here's the proof in the pudding for developing these followings, because you can use these followings to put them into different funnels of business for yourself in various different industries. So this is a great example. Mike Johnson is going to be speaking next. He's building some presences around TV shows. Do you like any specific TV show a lot? Desperate Housewives has 11 million people, and it's still active, and the show's over. Baltimore Sports Report, this is one of my clients. They get 3,000 visitors a day. These guys just love sports in Baltimore, and that's what they talk about. Do you have something that's passionate, makes you just, when someone brings up the topic and you just kind of go off on it, there are other people that will do that too. I guarantee it. Knitting. 500,000 people. You can't see it right there, but oh, yeah, you get 497,000 people want to talk about knitting. You can set up a page around knitting too. That's probably going to be different than these people, and create that kind of a following, and affiliate relationships and partnerships and all kinds of things come along with it. Wakeboarding. This is another opportunity. I mean, this could be related to snowboarding and skateboards. The opportunities are endless when you look at what it is you're really excited about and passionate about. My Downtown Tampa's Awesome page, continuously growing. If you love something in your community, there's one down here. It's called I Love Sarasota. If you know who the people are, I'd love to meet them because I have some ideas for them. The same way that we built ours, they can implement it for themselves. But here's the one that I think is the most relevant, because I always get somebody that says, I love being a parent. I love being a grandparent. They've got 42,000 people that also like that. So it really doesn't matter what your passion is. The following is what matters. Now you're asking, okay, great. I get all these people to follow me. Now what the heck do I do with them? Who cares if I have 1 million people following me? What can I do with that? You're able to build an email list through various different methods, whether it's through contests, whether it's through different types of opt-ins, whether it's through writing some awesome report on how to be the best grandparent ever. Whatever that case is, people will give you their email addresses. And I'm going to show you a couple different styles of how we do it. But anything you can throw out there has an opportunity around it. I guarantee you, if we sat down for 10 minutes, you tell me something that you're super excited about, I can give you a few ideas on affiliate relationships you can create, and also how that could potentially grow your business if you're doing some kind of product sale or something like that. Because most people have a hobby that's relative to something around their existing clients, that other clients they have might have some kind of similar hobby as well. So the second set of questions to ask is, one, who do you need to get in front of? Who is your client, and who are their influencers? And who would also benefit, or that's a little clear, who would also benefit from that? But then what are all the monetization options around this? Around the list is what I want you to think about. So, sponsorship, if you have a site or a following that's getting a ton of participation, there are people that will pay just to be in front of that audience. Affiliate relationships. This and Google AdSense are the lowest hanging fruit for you as far as your internet presence is concerned if you're really trying to develop a mass cult following, because these take no barrier of entry. You sign up for affiliate stuff, there's Commission Junction. If you look up affiliate marketing or affiliate networks, you'll find tons of these places. Google AdSense, you log into your Google account and sign up for it, they give you some code, put it on your website. You have the opportunity to get people to start, people might click on those and you might get a few dollars from it. Then you've got product sales, which is a little bit more complex and kind of refers a little bit more into what Mike's going to talk about later, is how do you get people, once they're in your funnel, to give you money? Because giving you their email is one thing, now you've got to nurture these leads and get them to want to take action on something. Some of you might be selling consulting, which is just intellectual property. This goes right back into what Mark was talking about before, is constantly being this resource. You're going to be seen as somebody that's valuable when you're constantly dishing out types of information, and when you have an idea for somebody, like you meet somebody at a networking event, they have a problem that you're trying to fix, that you know how to fix, just give them the answer. I've encountered people in business multiple times that say, I don't want to give away the whole answer because they're not paying me, or stuff like that. A great example, a friend of mine was telling me that she does some different stuff with YouTube. She's like a checklist of 40 some odd things to do on YouTube. I'm just like, great, give a presentation. People would love to figure out what 43 steps do I have to do when I upload a video on YouTube. It's like, well, I don't want to tell people all of them because they'll do it themselves. listen, the people who are going to do it themselves, well, the ones who are going to do it themselves regardless. It's not like they were going to call you. You'd rather just have them be your advocates and be like, wow, she is awesome. She got us these 43 steps. And if anything, I think it builds your confidence that, okay, if I hire this lady, she's got a 41-step checklist that she's going to follow. So it doesn't hurt you ever to give away more content than you think you can. And then you've got CPA, which is cost per action type of things. Gets a little bit trickier, a little bit bigger of a conversation, but if people give you an email address and click on different links, you can get paid for stuff like that too. So these are kind of the things to think about when you're building whatever type of presence it is that you have out there online. But also, where is the money in that industry? So I had to take a step back when we were building the downtown project and look at, all right, who is like controlling the funds here? Because I'm dealing with all of the restaurants and bars and everybody, but they're getting hit by solicitors all the time. Everyone's trying to sell them stuff. And I don't want to do that. I want to have a non-biased promotional tool for everybody in this downtown area. So people are like, oh, the CVBs, the Convention and Visitor Bureaus, they control some money. The government has money. So how do I get grants? How do I take advantage of that? So you kind of got to start thinking out of the box and throw the ideas out to friends, because I can't tell you how many times I talk to somebody and then someone says something that sounds like just duh, how come I didn't think of that? Anybody ever ask a question and get an answer back and it's like, oh, really? Like, what's going on with me? And then who else wants to be in front of those people? I've been super fortunate. We built this project. We had an idea of, maybe we have to run events because we can get people to come out to downtown to do parties, but I don't want to be in the events business. Anybody ever run an event before? Is it like a giant pain sometimes? Like this is a lot easier because this is getting people to a room. It's a controlled event. You have an event like a big party, like a million different logistics. Fortunately, I found a company that runs events every other month in downtown. They give us tickets to their events anyways. We can now be a huge promotional tool for them, create an affiliate relationship, and now our audience is going to buy their tickets, helping them out, making us a few dollars, and I don't have to run anything. I just get to go show up. I got free tickets to go to Bourbon and Brews tomorrow. I'm pretty stoked about it. So there's going to be 5 things right now. If you are taking notes, this is the time to pick up your pen. There's 5 amazing things you can do on Facebook that are going to blow your mind. You can like, comment, share, message, and run ads. This is the extent of complexity that I used when building that presence of 5,000 people in 4 months and less than $500. That's it. It is incredible. Oh. Sorry. These are the basic functions. By a show of hands, does everybody know how to do these things? No. Which one would you like assistance with?
Running ads.
Running ads. We'll talk a little bit more about that one. We're going to talk about ads in just a minute, copy and pictures and stuff like that. It is incredible. So building your following. One of the reasons we were able to build this following so big so fast is the name. I have found that by using a statement, something is, people will see that ad and that page and say, yeah, it is. And just hit like. Or click on it and go participate with whatever ad is going on. So sometimes what we do is we go downtown and we take pictures and we have cards. And people say, oh, what are you guys doing? Who are you with? Like, we're with Downtown Tampa is awesome. We're like, Downtown Tampa is awesome. And they just buy into it right there. We set up other presents. We haven't just done this one. We tested that with Volleyball is awesome. We got some cool projects going on with Katie Kavitzos that she's got some projects focusing on women entrepreneurs. I'm not going to give you the secrets around what we're doing with that one. But it worked multiple times, so it's not like a fluke. We got clicks for this, and I'll show you the clicks that we got. Right around 10 and 11 cents each for likes, and they're engaging. And that's exponentially growing our organic reach every month as well. So when you're thinking about stuff, you have to choose the right pictures. Choosing pictures is critical because you're going to be doing some testing. So after you choose your picture, you're going to copy, and the most critical element is testing. Because the testing side of it, I wish I could tell you that here's the most perfect ad you could run and you will go and convert perfectly tomorrow. Like, I can show you what's worked for us, but you're going to have to tweak it. So the great thing about Facebook, as it compares to, I'll say, Google. Like Google AdWords is just crazy. It's just tons of options, tons of different settings, lots and lots and lots of stuff. Facebook has made it relatively simple to where you're able to choose your demographics, choose your ages. It's all in one column. Just go down the checklist kind of a thing. So you're able to really narrow it down by ages, demographics, by what they like, pages that they're following, and test it out. And I typically start broad and start narrowing it down. But the biggest reason why I like Facebook is I can do it with like $2 a day and get a sense for what's happening. So it's not like you're going to make this financial commitment. Like Google sends you that $100 in free AdWords and you get, 2 clicks and nothing happens and you say, wow, $50 a click, what happened? This is something that you can do for very, very little money and test out and figure out who is engaging with your ads, who is liking the different pictures, because Facebook also lets you select 6 different images and run the ads for that one campaign simultaneously. I like doing 3 at the very most. I think 6, especially when you're doing a really small budget, isn't enough to kind of give you a good test plan. So if you're going through that creation of an ad, I would say use 2 or 3. But then leveraging followings from other pages. This is the cool thing that Mike and I were talking about. Let's say you want to set up a page for Desperate Housewives. Desperate Housewives has their own page. Chances are they're not active. They just have it, and they've got this following. You can just directly target that whole following, and then your page is active. So when you run an ad for it, people are like, oh, I thought I was already a fan of this page. Oh, let me go over here. So sometimes the audience has already been built for you. You just have to find out those pages that have those types of followers that you want to bring over. For me, in downtown, it was anybody who was friends with the bars and restaurants and museums and stuff in downtown. I had a pool of people right there that said they already like something in it. I'm going to have a presence that's dedicated to all of it. And they just all started migrating over. You're just like opening the door, and everybody's like, oh, this is great. I didn't know I could find events and everything here. You made it very, very simple. So it's important to think about all those different areas that you're able to use and find people in.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Back to the building the following. Did you do like an ad? Let's just go back to the Desperate Housewives. Did you like do an ad that says, do you like Desperate Housewives? And then it took it to your page? Or what did you
I had it going for building likes. So it was Desperate Housewives are awesome. Desperate Housewives rock. I love Desperate. I'm not as partial to the I love Desperate Housewives part, or the I love. I have more of is awesome. I don't know why, it's really just language. You can test them out both ways. So figuring that out, and my headline is the name of the page, because that's the statement. And when you can get someone to agree with that statement, it's easier to get them to participate. So I would get them to like it. Sometimes I would put it on and get them to send it into a contest, but my clicks ended up being a little more expensive. We've tried doing with the boosted post. You guys seen what that is? When you're on your page, you make a status update, it asks you at the bottom if you want to add a few dollars to boost it. It's great to get that exposure to that one post. I have found it, at least on our end, for most of the stuff that we've done, is I don't get as well of a conversion into likes. I get in front of a ton of people, but I'm not getting the translation into that turning into the likes and following. I could have invested that $5 that I did that party post with into buying more likes and getting that post going on. So here's a little snapshot. I know it's kind of tough to read, but I can go here and grab that thing. So this ad is talking to people only in the Channel District, Davis Island, Tampa Theater, Harbor Island. Super specific stuff. We got a pretty great click-through rate of about 5%. Most ads are not running that high when you're doing stuff, and around 11 cents a click. This was just over the last couple weeks. Yes, sir.
I guess I should know this about Facebook.
If you're going to ask a question, raise your hand and I'll bring a mic.
Oh,
You got a question?
I can yell.
I'm getting it on tape. I'm getting it on tape.
This way you're going to be on record.
I guess I should know this. What is the difference between likes and following? If you like something or follow it. I didn't know the difference on Facebook. I thought they were one and the same.
You can actually follow people. So you can follow people's personal profiles, because some people have kind of turned those into their own presence. There's a guy, I think his name's Drew Knoll, I'm not saying it right, he's a fitness guy. He's maxed out on his number of followers, but his friends, but he's crazy engaged, like all the time with people. So you're following a person,
Are the friends?
or within the friends pages, and you're liking something that's participating within the pages. Yes, yes.
It seems
How am I doing on time?
it seems to me that Facebook has become very clever, and that when you post something on your page, it limits the audience it goes to. And unless you boost it or run an ad, it really doesn't have as far of a reach as it used to. What are they doing?
I don't have a crystal ball to look into with it. Mike's got an answer for you, it looks like. Can you go back there to Mike real quick, Andre?
Give you
Is
a
that-
quick answer on that one. Think about this for a second. Facebook is a live feed of things that are going on. So it has to do with the number of people that have liked your page and who happens to be on page at the same time. And then also, you got to take in consideration everything else that they like. So if they have a whole bunch of people that they interact with, a whole bunch of pages that they like, your post then is going to get pushed down very, very quickly. So that's why you have to post more frequently.
I'm glad that you said that, because I wanted, before you go on research.
Why don't we hold off on the questions until the end? It keeps the flow going.
Right down. I'm glad that you said it, though. I wanted to get into it. When I make posts, our downtown page and our other pages will typically make 2 to 4 posts a day max. And if my post reach in the morning and in the evening is less than 20% of my following, I'm not happy with it. And in the middle of the day, if it's less than 13%, I'm not happy. Those are kind of the numbers that I'm shooting for. Statistically, we're well over the 20% in the morning and evening, but that's why it's critical when you look in your insights, you'll see the high points of when people are participating. And if you're posting at those times and they're still not engaging, it's your content. They don't care about it. I attach pictures to everything. If you attach nice pictures to stuff, people will just participate. Like when we do contests, let's say I'm giving away a gift certificate to a restaurant. I'm not putting a picture of the restaurant stuff there. I've got a picture of like downtown at night, which I know people are going to share and like the heck out of. And there, my link is still in the post, so when they like it, comment it, share it, they're spreading the word of my contest all over the place. So I always look at, don't think about what you're posting in the text, how it has to relate so much to the picture you're sharing. And to use the picture to be the awesome piece of it, it's like Mark was saying, be awesome. Picture's awesome, the important stuff's in your text. So that's what I've used before. We've been incredibly successful with that on multiple pages. So getting more visibility is really what we're all trying to do. So I like to turn my audience into the promotional tool. I want to connect with all of the different people that I am trying to be of value to. So if I'm creating a presence, let's say I'm creating something around knitting, I'm going to find all of the knitting related pages out there. And my page is going to like all of them. And I'm going to participate with them actively. And I'll show you, I hope the picture's in here, but I'll show it in a second. Identify other pages that have common targets and how to effectively like and comment. What happens is most pages will do something, I'm going to guess that your following is growing. You probably don't engage too much with other pages. Most people rarely ever do. And you're just making updates and hoping your followers participate with it. Am I right? Is that kind of what most of you are doing? You're posting a status update and hoping it gets some traction. How you get more traction is I go on and I use 10 minutes a day and I just act as my page and go on. When you go up to Facebook and you act as your fan page and you click home, it shows you in the newsfeed just all of the pages that you've liked. I just go and interact with all of them. I'm liking, I'm commenting, but the most effective action is commenting on the other people's comments to other posts. So if Jane made a status update and Bonita made a comment, I want to comment and like Bonita's stuff. Because now Bonita's getting a direct message, hey, Downtown Tampa's awesome, or the knitting page is just participating with what you're doing. And now if it's that statement that they are going to agree with, your likes will consistently go up. And you will see this. the more time you spend doing it, tinkering around with it, that's why I limit it to 10 minutes a day. I'm very adamant about the time that I invest on stuff, because I too have gone onto Facebook and 3 hours later found myself laughing. I 5 or 6 hours later on Pinterest on the humor section, just like, oh, look at this picture. So trying to avoid those types of things, it really helps when you have those time frames and those time constraints. Is that a picture coming up? Oh, here we go. So this is a picture of my dashboard of what's called WooBox. It's a relatively inexpensive service. This is what I use to run my Facebook contests. But all this stuff over here, all that stuff right there, are other types of things I can do to engage people. So I can just give coupons away. I can have a sweepstakes. I can do Pinterest to win. I can do instant wins, photo contests, video contests. This thing facilitates everything. The only thing you really got to do is create, 2 or 3 of these types of graphics. It gives you the dimensions. You can do it with Paint if you really want to, but it's really kind of done for you. The great thing is it creates the tab for you. It does all of it. The people will opt in. You can choose what types of information you want to gather. So if you want their name, their email, their phone number, their zip code, whatever you want, you can gather all that information. It will show you the reach of how many people actually saw your whole contest, whatever it is you're doing. Then when you want to go pick a winner, you click on the winners, and you just hit pick winner. You don't have to scroll through and just blindly stop and click somebody. It does it for you, so it's nothing really on you. All you have to do is then notify the winner. That's the one thing that it doesn't do. The photo contest is awesome. We're about to start one in a week. I saw another page that just launched it. It's about getting other people to participate with it. Like when we run contests, I am very upfront with whoever stuff I'm giving away. I give them the copy that I need them to post on their page. Because if you say, can you promote this for me? You got no idea what they're going to do, and they're not going to do it the way you want to do it. It's not going to get the response you want. So making it as idiot-proof as possible, give them what you want them to do, and they're going to post it up, and you'll see an increase. The photo contest, we're not just engaging with the places that are giving away stuff, we're engaging with the entire photography community. I'm looking up all the photography schools and just direct messaging all of them saying, hey, we're running this contest in downtown Tampa, we're giving away this book tour and all this food and all this different stuff. Get a ton of people around it. Reach out. Don't just run a contest, put it up on Facebook, and assume it's going to go. Because your following is going to do a nice little push for you. But your following, the cool thing is, it also, let's say you aren't a fan of my page yet. You opt in, you like the page, you participate with it. At the end of it, it tells you to share it, and if any of your friends join it, you get more bonus points in the hopper. So it's helping you grow your following, but if I'm only promoting it myself, my following is the only one pushing it out there, and I want to have the other people's followings joining my page, building my audience, giving me their email addresses, because now what we're able to do is we've got a nice email database. We email them once a week. I change the email title up every now and then, but if you're winning a contest and you don't do contests too often, a great headline is, and the winner of XYZ's contest is ... Because now everybody's going to open it. They want to see if they won. So then you're going to get that all going on, and let's say you have a consumer type of page, and they won some gift certificate to someplace. If you're an affiliate through Commission Junction, within there you can become an affiliate of Groupon and Living Social. We put those at the bottom of a lot of our emails now. Just like, hey, 2 of our favorite restaurants have a half-off deal going. And just put our affiliate link there. So now when people click, they open our emails, it has nothing to do with food. Even our business emails have nothing to do with food. It's about something that we're speaking at. But hey, 2 of our favorite restaurants have a deal going on. And you can make $20 if you have a small list. You get $1,000 if you've got a large list. So looking at that, you can get all these little things happening, so there's always a little bit of flow happening. Every time you're doing something, it's with the intention of providing value. We're not pushing people into this. It wasn't they just got an email only for our Groupon deal. It's, here's the great content, here's what we just posted on our site, here's why it's valuable to you, and by the way, here's 2 places that we like. Is that the right thing? Is that, would you be upset oh man, they're just trying to sell me stuff? It's I'm promoting, half off something. You like to eat, you like to go to restaurants, you're going to use it. The cool thing is, with some of these, is the cookie will stay on their computer for a little while. So let's say they click on your Living Social or whatever discount thing you send them over to, or Amazon or anything else that's out there. And that cookie stays on for 24 hours or a week. A friend of mine created a program that helps it stay on for 30 days. So if they go on any time in that period of time and buy something, you're still going to get credit. So it's a cool little thing with the affiliate marketing side of the world that's still going on. So this is just an example of what we were giving away this week. So you can see email address, name, phone number. That's all they really have to do is fill that out. They go to a thank you page. It asks them to share it. Our list continues to grow. Non-threatening. You can find something to give away. I have an insurance agent. Okay, this insurance agency is one of my clients, and like, how are we going to gather names? Because I've already learned people don't care about insurance. So we give away food stuff. These clients like to eat. They like to go places. We'll give away. We'll partner up with a spa, and they'll say, "Listen, we've got 6,000 clients. We're going to send an email out to them. Want to give us like a $100 gift certificate, and we'll give it away on our page, and then we'll give you the email addresses of the people who participate in that contest because they clearly liked whatever you had." And they're not going to say no. You're building them a list, you're promoting them, you're getting them in front of a new group of people. So now you're both building that audience, you're both getting exposure. He's building a little bit of reason to reach out. Has anybody ever gotten an email from their insurance agent that's not about your policy, like, hey, just, oh, you haven't got them. I thought you got them, or just delete them immediately, like I do. Like, it's just like, I don't care what you have to say, it's great. But if you have it around something they're giving away, now I'm inclined, oh, what are they giving away? This is awesome, I love it. I win tons of stuff. So I am adamant about, if someone's giving away something, I'm registering. I want $1,200 from Visit Tampa Bay for 12 different restaurants just to keep going around. And I love to eat. If you haven't guessed that, I like to do a lot of things. But it's registering for stuff, and as long as you're not abusing the list, you're doing great. And here's what I mean about the communicating with people while they're in the other following. So this is the City of Tampa's page. They had like 33 likes and 4 comments. But now this Rhonda lady, hey, we had a fun time in San Diego. Why not here? We did an event. She was at an event in San Diego. Why don't we do something here? I would like and respond to this because if it's an event that she just isn't aware of, she's like, oh, there was a great bourbon event in San Diego. I can reply and say, we got bourbon and brews this weekend. And now I have another resource, and now she has a new like. It took me 2 seconds to do. So commenting and visiting with those people is absolutely critical. But strategic alliances, you got to create a promotional tool for these people. That's why they're a strategic alliance. You've built something that they also have value in. You hear all these JV partnerships that people are making all this kinds of money. It's just because they built a list. Someone else also likes the list that they have. They're able to promote things together, and now they're both able to make money. I will 100% guarantee there are other people that are not competitors to you that would see value in your list for you guys to do a collaborative thing together, giving away each other services, giving them something like that that helps expose someone else. And then you can track it. It's important not to use like your Gmail account to do these things. If you're going to do an email blast, use something like iContact, Aweber, Constant Contact, whichever one of these you like. Ask for help if you need to, but that at least will track it. So then you can see, all right, I promoted Jane this week, and 50 people clicked on Jane's link. I'll call her and say, listen, did you get any calls? You can track it, even if you sent them to a landing page that Jane created on her site, that she's now creating emails, you can track the whole process. So a lot of these things just take time to just step back, look at what's going on, and who else can benefit, and how can we partner up on things. Oop, there was one other point on that one. I'm sorry. Include them in promotions. I'm constantly sharing everybody's stuff. I will share competitors' stuff. I don't care. It's the same thing that Mark said before. I've had multiple clients where they don't want to have like their testimonials and their client list on their site because they're like, well, then my competitor can go on and look at all my clients and like target them. I'm like, they're targeting them anyways. They're not going to like target, be like, I'm going to take all of Anita's clients. I have her whole list of people now. Like, they're already calling them. They're looking on the internet, they're finding them, they're soliciting the same people. That's why they're your competitor. So who cares? And then when you promote them, they're confused. They're like, what are they doing? And we're like, wow. Mike and I have some similarities when Mike had his little SEO business. We had similarities in what we did, but if Mike had like a great blog post on something, about marketing, I'm going to share it. I don't care. Call him. Maybe you click better with him than you do with me. I can't work with everybody. There's more than enough business to go around. There's countless numbers of people that are trying to do marketing and countless number of people that work well with different people. When we start engagements with people, we say, listen, I'm difficult to get along with, you probably are too. Let's sit down and see how we click. And then we'll see if we can move on. Because that's the reality of things. Not everybody's a perfect match. Or else we'd all be, like my fiance is like watching this Sister Wives show on Netflix apparently. Have you seen this ridiculousness? Don't even bother watching it. It's on Netflix. It's awful. It does relate to what I talked about. So, this is a cool tool that a friend of mine developed. His name's Dan. He's got a company called Marketing Arsenal. We're starting to utilize it for some of our other projects. The cool thing about what it does is it scrapes through closed Facebook groups and is able to get their user ID numbers. All that really means to you and us is we're able to run targeted ads only to those people, and our clicks are a penny. Not our likes, our clicks. So this enables us to build a massive email list very quickly by finding all these different groups that are around very targeted niche things. We say closed groups, we do it open ones too, but statistically we found that closed groups are more engaged. That's why they're closed, they don't want people bothering them, so there's a lot of things like that. So kind of the steps that this tool, he's got a tool, if you want to email him, feel free. So what it does is we identify the closed groups, you can do the same thing. His little tool goes and scrapes through them, and then it's super cheap to run the ads, and then the user will go through and go into an opt-in page, which is through another tool that he uses. If you want the exact tool, you can ask me afterwards. I forgot to put it in the presentation. But what it is it's another tab within Facebook that when you go to it, you can change the language, but it's like a Facebook like button, but you can change it. It doesn't have to say like. You can say click here to engage, click participate, whatever it is. And they will like the page when they click it. It will give you their email address, and it will also enter them into whatever kind of contest you have. So it does all of these things in one cool little plugin. So he's been able to just develop some really great stuff around it. He told me about the thing he did last week. It's like, we got 100 clicks, we got 27 of them, 27 people opted into what we did, and then 5 of them bought a $297 product. Like, it's not always, obviously, that easy to just flip the switch. It's around having a great product and delivery and all that stuff, but it's really great to build your email database. But then that's really what Mike's going to talk about later, that marketing cycle. When your marketing cycle begins, how are you going to engage? How are you going to add value? How are you going to consistently talk to these people to make them believe in you and want to do business with you, want to know you, like you, trust you, all those different things. So let's just kind of do my little strategy creation wrap up. Here's what really we did with the downtown page. Put them all up there, write down. We post 2 to 4 times a day. Our highest engagement is in the evening. Sunday evenings for us is the highest time of participation. The morning is great for us, but the midday, kind of iffy. We engage with other pages for 10 minutes. We directly communicate with all the pages we're connected to as a message. So we connect with them and say, hey, just wanted to say hello, let's chat sometime. So we make us a real person, not just someone that's this digital mystery. We promote others unconditionally. It goes back to that relationship. Everything that we do is unconditional. I don't expect anybody to give us stuff, to pay us for things. I'm like so stoked right now to go and like give away like 4 websites because of what Mark said before. Because there's people downtown that have awful websites, and it's tough to promote them when I'm sending them to like a GoDaddy page that's red and has like their logo. It says, come see us. Like, who are you? So I'm excited to go do that for them. And then have a way to capture emails. Figure out where you're going to send them. Figure out if it's a contest, if it's an opt-in, if it's a white paper, if it's something that you have of value that you're going to offer, and it will help you start to build that list. And then with Mike's brilliant ideas that he's going to come out with, he's going to show you what to do with all these emails once you have them in that database. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Joe. We have a few minutes for some questions, and let me have you speak into a mic.
Yes, thank you for sharing. For those of us that are trying to build a list, let's assume you have a very small following on Facebook,
Okay.
like 200 or less. You want to write a blog that is interesting for a certain niche. Any suggestions as to how you would, not monetize, but build that blog to a list?
What is your niche? What are you trying to get in front of?
It could be just a business or retired and loving it.
So people that are retired.
Yeah.
So think about what those people value. What do they like? And what are you trying? Which question?
But where do you?
But where? So you got a small following. It's about retirees and stuff like that. You have to think about the long-term goal of it is why are you trying to build this following? You're trying to build it because you want to talk about golf more, or you want to talk about raising grandkids. Like, figure out where you want to go with it, and then you're able to run some really inexpensive ads and participate with pages. You can start participating with the pages before you run the ads. So if it's, being retired is awesome. Again, I go back to is awesome, very awesome. But being retired is awesome. You're engaging with all of these different golf courses and different places and stuff that retired people are probably participating with already. You engage with them, you connect with them, you figure out ways to run contests or run fun events or collaborate with stuff on different types of things that these people are already engaging in. So now you're providing a resource to help get in front of that community. So the more you're engaging, it's not as active as a demographic, but it's still a demographic that's on Facebook. So you might not build a list as big and as fast, but you will see it. So it's a matter of figuring out really what is the topic you want to talk about being retired, and then pull into that little niche of stuff. So then people absolutely, if I figure out, I'm retired and I'm getting bored, what do I do now? You get a blog post on it, probably check it out. Yes, sir.
Great presentation, Joe. Really appreciate it. And I appreciated Mark's too. Thanks, Andre, for facilitating this. My question is, what do you suggest for those who may be a little bit content challenged?
Perfect. What is your industry?
Credit card processing and POS.
Great. What do you like to do?
I like to close. I like to be in front of the customer.
I get that, but you probably have a hobby outside of that.
Sure.
Oh, gardening, fishing.
Perfect. I guarantee you that there's other people that have businesses that use merchant processing that like to fish. You're building a massive audience, so when you put something out there, listen, I do some merchant processing, if anybody's got a business and someone's been following that page, the likelihood of them engaging with you is significant. You can include it in the bottom of an email. You have two incomes. You've created a whole presence around fishing, and you're also able to pepper in, not frequently, but every now and then, say, listen, my company's got a big contest for stuff this month for merchant processing. Anybody know someone who owns a restaurant or a bar or a gas station? And someone probably email you back. I get it. That's how I ended up ancillary getting consulting clients from what we're doing in downtown because we're doing this different stuff. I created a presence for downtown. I'm a person that you would talk to because I have relationships with every one of the merchants. So figure out what presence you can build that already engages with those people, create a value for them. If you built what I did for downtown, you're not soliciting them. You're saying, oh, this is actually my real business, but here's how we can promote you for this and this and this. Oh, I need to do merchant processing. I hate my guy. He never comes in. They'll tell you the story that's going to help you sell, and it's done. So content challenges, no excuse because you like stuff. You have one question, you have two or three.
Hold on, about three more questions.
So when you're writing your, say, blog post around what your hobby is this under your business or is this something separate?
I create a separate entity as my promotional audience builder.
I see.
And then I funnel them wherever I want them to go.
Who was next?
Yeah, that was my question. He answered it. Actually, my question kind of relates to that too. Would you comment about Facebook as to how you coordinate your business activities with your personal life? People put up family pictures, you put up your hobby pictures, you put up your political affiliation stuff, and how does that affect the business part of what you do positively or negatively, and how would you recommend coordinating those two?
It's a loaded question. The first thing would really just be like, use your security settings. It's kind of a pain to tinker with because they seem to change them and then they like reset stuff sometimes, I think. But go and look at your security settings, make sure that pictures are only visible to who you want them to be visible for. Use your personal page however you really want to. I'm sometimes a slacker and I don't post for a few days. You're like, oh, you're a social media guy. I'm like, no, I like what I do, but I'm engaged on like 20 other pages. You don't care what I'm doing today. So if I don't have something interesting to say, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to post something just to post it. Your business page, keeping it light, because kind of always go back to the insurance side. Nobody cares about your business that's looking at your fan page. Talk about community things. Talk about stuff that your audience or your customers would be excited about. So the insurance guy is talking about what's happening in his community this week. So he's now being a resource to the community by promoting their events. And now his name's just getting put places because he talks about that. Not about the whole flood-related regulations and all that stuff.
I just want to follow up a little bit. To make it easy to understand, I think what you're saying, before the internet, before Facebook, everybody here pretty much sells a product or a service. When you were selling in front of somebody, you would usually have conversations with them about your personal life for them to get to know you and that type of thing. And I think that's all you're trying to say is get them to get to know you, get them to like you, get them to trust you, get them to want to do business with you by adding these things to your page.
Absolutely.
Without having to personally be in front of them, you have a different kind of way to be there.
I think the easiest thing to do when you're making a post is type up the post, get it all ready, and ask yourself, if I saw this, would I do anything? Would I like it, comment it, or share it? Because most of the time it's probably no. It's just like, oh, I got to post this information. I always say, I have to put this blog post up today. It's like, okay, what's going to be the language around it? And they post it and no one engages with it. I get clients that call me in a panic, like, I have to get this up. It's like, you want to post this at like 4 a.m. and no one, you're anxious to get up that early in the morning and get it posted and no one's going to see it because you're not thinking about the marketing side of it. How are people going to see it? Why are they going to engage with it? So just look at it. If you would engage with it, then post it. Simple as that.
Joel, thank you very much.